Anyway, so just start by swaying from side to side. So you don't have to sway very much, but just a little bit. And then start to slow it down, and then gradually start to come to the centre. Just come to feet hip width apart and lift and roll your shoulders. Turn your head to the left and then come through to the centre to turn your head to the right. Through to the left and then to the right. No turning or yanking, just where the head naturally stops, and then come back to the centre. Raise your right arm, left arm stays down, and circle the wrists in one direction. And then circle in the other direction. It's engaging your mind, so it's a mind thing as well as your wrists. And then just lower your right arm. Lift and roll the shoulders. And then the left arm comes up, same thing. So circle in one direction. And then very gently, hello Patsy, circle in the other direction. And then lower the arms. Lift and roll the shoulders. Circle the arms up, clasp and reverse. You'll feel the stretch, it's an extension, one of the back movements, and then to one side, come to the centre, and then to the other side. Come to the centre. Rotate one way, and then coming to the centre, rotate in the other direction. And then come to the centre. And then lower the hands to the waists. The waist. Turn to look over your left shoulder. Come to the centre. And then turn to look over your right shoulder. And come to the centre. So balance check. Just lift your heels. I'm not doing very well actually. In fact, not very well at all. And then just very gently lower your heels. And just take a little bend. Your bottom goes out behind you, and you'll feel your abdominal muscles engage. And then come up. So in yoga, there's a pose called Utkatasana, and I'm going to demonstrate it, and you'll see why I do this modification, because Utkatasana I find exhaustingly difficult. It's sort of really bending your knees and really going up, and it really goes into my lower back. So if you place your hands on your waist, it softens it, but if you've got a super strong core and bottom away from you, you still engage in your core. Once you raise the arms, I think it goes into the lower back, but it depends on where your core is. So I don't like doing that, and that's why I modify it. But I just thought it's interesting for you to see, and you'll find that in a lot of mainstream yoga classes, but often, to be fair, they're Ashtanga bunnies in sort of super fit, gorgeous mode and all of that. So just lift and roll the shoulders again. And this time slide the hands down to where it's comfortable for you. So I'm going to be shins, but if you don't like coming down, then that's fine, can't to the thighs. Press your hands into your shins and lengthen them, so it's a half lift. Breathe out, bend your knees, bend your elbows. Press your hands into the shins, a half lift again, and stay here as you breathe out. And then soften your knees, press your hands into the ground. Press your hands into the ground, press your feet into the ground as you roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And lift and roll your shoulders, and now clasp behind your back, aiming your knuckles to the ground. Lifting your hands away from you a tiny bit, and then just going to the left, come to the centre, and then go to the right, and come down to the centre. And then separate the hands. Roll one shoulder backwards. And then set that shoulder backwards. And then roll the other shoulder backwards. Roll both shoulders forwards. And then just lift and roll both shoulders backwards. So when you're setting your shoulder pose, you should always finish with lifting and rolling the shoulders backwards so that the clavicle set over the bird body properly. That then opens you here across the chest, opens your shoulders, your some K27 points. It opens the 2 points here, but lung meridians, and goes into K as kidney. So it just opens everything up and it just lifts the chest. So very unusually, we're just going to start with this ludicrously weird EFT. And I did a podcast, listened to a podcast on the effects. It combines psychology, modern psychology with Chinese medicine, with something else, but I think the third thing. So this tapping on the head is obviously going into your meridians. If you want to think of something that you just want to quell, I don't know, how stressed out am I about this? It's just weird. I just find it quite therapeutic. And then tapping the forehead. I'm doing a combined workshop here on the 25th of September, late afternoon, with Karen, the EFT lady. So she'll do this a little bit more. And then to the temples. And then underneath, you can still think how stressed am I, but equally you can just enjoy the relaxation sensation. There are different forms of EFT, so Karen just does one type. And then, oh yes, here underneath it's the philtrum. And then under the chin. And then these K27 points, which I love. It's like chest thumping. You find this in the energy medicine. If you're ever interested, she's called Donna Eden, quite a wacky lady, as you would have to be. And then the final one, which I find quite difficult, is almost under here. It's like a monkey thing, but you don't have to do both hands. You can just do one hand, and then just release, and then and you would do that over and over again. So just lift and roll your shoulders and think whether you feel subtly different. Perhaps not. You can do another one. You're supposed to do lots and lots of rounds to feel it, but it's just so nice. It is quite nice. You've got all the energy points in here, yeah. So that's.
You do all that in Indian head massages, all the points tapping like that.
Oh, do you? Oh, okay, that's interesting. So then the other thing, which goes into the energy points on the face. So this is Qigong. So breathing in, circling up, just reverse, and then just release your arms down. And then again, circling the arms. You do this 10 times, but I suggest this gets quite onerous doing it 10 times. But anyway, we'll just do perhaps 3. Breathing in, clasp and reverse, and lower. And I mentioned the points in Qigong, and I think this might be massage, but you come almost down the centre, go in, around the nose, down, and sort of almost coming off. That is massage, isn't it? And you just get, is it just around also, I go down the centre, but perhaps you should go round.
Yes, you can do different
ways.
It's the different chakras, it's the different ones, isn't it?
So this next one then, try going around the temples, coming under the eyes, just very gently obviously, to here. That point there is the start point of the energy for Qigong. Down the sides of the nose, round, and then off. You can again try that at home, just release the energy. And then the other thing that I quite like to do is just smooth across the eyebrows a couple of times. And just come to the inside of the eyebrows and circle the, press with any finger, I've got my third, and circle one way. You're supposed to circle anti-clockwise, but I think you naturally go one way, and then clockwise the other way. Doesn't matter, just circle. And if you move your fingers along the third way along the eyebrows, little nick in the bone, that's the next acupressure point. Circling one way and then circling the other. And then to the end of the eyebrows, you're virtually into the temples. It's a lot easier to find. Circling one way and circling the other way. I've had a couple of people with tinnitusy things. So if ever you have that, if you follow with your fingers along that line to the top of the ear, there's a slight depression all the way along there to the top of the ear. And that point above the top of the ears is the classic point for tinnitus, which is often stress-induced. And you can just circle there. And then, of course, you can drop your fingers behind the ears and also behind under the jawbone. Don't think that relates to the ears as well. I believe it relates to the eyes. So all the way around there, all the way around the ears. And then you can follow the line, the back of the head. How do you pronounce it, Charles? Occipital, thank you. Occiput, just to massage around there. And then just release your hands. And then we're going to look at the eyes before we come down. So just put your thumb out, your hand out. That thumb there is the centre of your clock. You either keep your hand there, if you think that you can remember where your point is, then don't just drop your hand because it's an effort to keep your hand up. But look to your 12 o'clock. Your eyes only move, not your head. Look to the centre and then look to your 6 o'clock. Centre. Look to 3 o'clock, your head stays still, centre, and then to 9, and then to centre. Go to 12, and then go round the clock smoothly, 5, 10. Just notice where your eyes skip, quarter past, 20, 25, all the way around. When you get to 12, drop your eyes to the centre, then look up again, and then go around anti-clockwise. And again, notice where you skip. I skip at the bottom, come up to 12, go back to the centre, and then drop your hands and just look into the distance. So for you, it's easier, as if you're looking at a mountain or a hill and you can see people and you're just squinting to see them. So that focuses the eye muscles in one direction. I'm going through this very quickly, but you would do this several times. And then just come back. And this next one, come to your thumb again and just look at your thumb as you bring your thumb towards you. And when your focus goes fuzzy, stop. And then just, again, you can see that your muscle is adjusting as you go forward. And then just release. That has a slight strain on the eyes because you've moved your muscles in a slightly different way. So for eyes, once you've finished your eye exercises, rub your hands together. You generate electricity, or the larger points are stimulated in the hands. And then place your hands over your eyes. Just drop your head. Open your eyes into the darkness of the hands. It's called palming. And then just move your hands aside. So come to the seated. And we are going to come to lying down, but before we do, I just wanted to say that the eye is a muscle, like anything else in the body, and it can be health vision, but it combined with diet as well. And I've only found one consultant who was actually Indian, a friend of mine went, who completely agreed. He said, absolutely, but 99% of the people, 90% of people cannot be bothered to do that. They cannot be bothered to do the exercises. And it combined with the diet as well. And it said that the muscle is like anything else in the body; it's affected by our diet. So you can do, and there's a whole series of exercises, but those are the main ones that you'll find in the yoga Ayurvedic world for keeping the eye muscle moving. And you don't need to do it very often, but anyway, interesting. The eyes also correlate in Ayurveda, not in normal medicine, I'm sure, perhaps they do, but anyway, correlate with the stomach. So if you've had an upset which has affected your stomach, like you're ill, it can often affect your eyesight. So often you'll find that people who've had a trauma or a real upset in their life, like divorce or something really major's happened to them, they will often find that their eyesight, or they'll need adjustment on their glasses afterwards, which I find quite interesting. It's not something you really think about. So coming to lying, but you know me, I'm not going to let you completely plonk on the ground at this stage. So just lying, begin to circle your ankles in one direction. And then begin to circle your ankles in the other direction. And it's the same thing. As you circle, notice where your ankles jump that circle. And maybe slow it down. The ankle, like supports our entire weight. So I'm a pointing case. I'm not even on my feet. I pronate on one side, my foot drops in. So it's really something that it's just keeping everything at bay. And then just relax your feet out, and then just turn your head to the left a little bit, or a lot, however much you want, and then to the right. So again, as you're going from left to right, you can feel the back of your head resting on the ground. So you're massaging across the skull, the back of the skull. And that, with its lumps and bumps, is again quite useful, quite interesting to. And then, of course, you can just slightly lift your chin up and slightly lift your chin down. Slightly moving up and down. That's slightly better, that exercise, if you have your knees bent. So just then bring that to a standstill. And then just bend one knee and then the other knee up. Feet are hip width apart on the ground, on the mat. Knees are to the ceiling. And just let both knees drift gently to one side. Your drift doesn't have to be very much, it can be as little as much as you like. Your opposite hip will lift slightly. Bring your knees back to the centre and then just very gently drift your knees to the other side. And just a few times drifting to one side and then to the other side. And then if you want to start to involve your head in the movement, please do. So for me, my knees drift to the right and my head drifts in the opposite direction to the left, away from the knees. But whatever works for you is fine. We're touching now on somatic movement, which kind of blends in with yoga. And I've said that, just reiterating, somatic movement is essentially, it has a sensory aspect to it. And when you kind of almost feel the movement, you are to some extent bypassing aspects of your brain. And so it becomes very much more relaxing for the nervous system. And then gently coming back to the centre, make any adjustments to your feet at any time that you need to, and keeping your right foot where it is, hug your left knee into your chest. Just a nod to hips, circle the left knee a couple of times in one direction. And then circle the knee a couple of times in the other direction. And then drop the hands to under the left thigh and gently extend the left leg up to the ceiling. And extend the left heel. Feel the stretch along the back of the left leg. So, and then just slightly point your toes and extend the left heel and point the toes again. And then just walk your hands up the back of your left leg, bringing the left leg towards you. And there's an option to either stay where you are, to drop your hands, so I'm dropping my right hand behind my head and on my neck. As I breathe out, I'm coming up with my head to the left leg, and then releasing the head back down to the ground. The third option would be just to hold your legs and lift your head up. That's a stronger version. But then bend your left knee when you're ready into your chest, and open your left knee to the left, placing the left ankle on top of your right thigh. Palms either resting on your abdomen or palms, hands down alongside you, as you very gently just sway the knees from side to side in the same direction. And then totally cross over your left leg over your right. Lift your right leg off the ground and slide your hands down the shins. So you will naturally find that your right hand goes to your left leg and vice versa. As you hug your shins in towards you, your knees come towards you, this opens you out at the lower back level, and you can stay static or you can slightly wobble a millimetre or two from side to side, and again it's your choice. And then very gently release the legs back down to the floor, so your right foot goes back down to the floor. Hug the left knee into the chest, and then very gently place the left foot back onto the ground. And come back to hands either on the abdomen or palms down as you gently sway the knees from side to side. And your head can become involved in the movement as well. And then as you come to the centre again, make any adjustments with your feet that you need to, and hug your right knee into your chest. And once more, circle the right knee in one direction. And then reverse that direction as you can feel the thigh bone moving in the hip socket. And then still hugging the right knee in, open the right knee to the right and place the right ankle on top of the left thigh. Palms either hands down or alongside you or on your abdomen, as you just gently sway from side to side. And then totally cross over your right leg. Lift your left foot and hug the knees in, sliding your hands down the shins. Just rocking very gently from side to side, or staying still. And replacing your left foot on the ground, hug your right knee into your chest and just drop your hands under your right thigh as you raise the right leg up to the ceiling. Just extend the right heel and point the toes a couple of times. And then as you move and walk your hands up the back of your right leg, stay here or choose the option to either lift your head as you breathe out, supported or unsupported, it's up to you. And then just release your head back down to the ground. Hug your right knee into your chest. Let the left knee join it, so both knees are hugging into the chest. Rock gently from side to side. And then, keeping your knees together, circle both knees in the same direction, which will focus the movement at the base of the spine, around it like a little 50p piece. And then circle your knees in the other direction. And then just gently place your feet onto the ground and let both knees drift to one side. We're going to be coming up into kneeling on hands and knees in tabletop. So yogically you would roll to your right, but whatever side, or rock up, whatever side works for you. And come on to the hands and knees. So hands are shoulder hip width apart and knees are roughly hip width apart. And just begin, imagine your tailbone like a pencil and begin to circle, drawing a circle with your tailbone so you'll keep your shoulders as still as you can so that the movement drifts down to the pelvis, circling, your back will move and up, undulate slightly, and then just circle around in the other direction. And then come to the centre, and we're coming to the classic cat-cow, dipping the back, either looking up or along the floor, and rounding, chin comes to the chest. As you repeat this a few times, the movement can initiate mostly and classically from the tailbone, base of the spine, as you imagine the wave rippling up and rippling down. But there is also a visualization that might work for you also, and imagine like a magnet going on the centre of your back, just almost lifting you up. You arch more that way. So again, whatever visualization might work for you. And then I carry on with the cat-cow, or we're going to come to standing. So you can do it coming to standing how you want to, but for those of you who would like to do a downward dog, this is the downward dog time. So tummy in and then come to your downward dog. Otherwise, make your own way up to standing. Downward dog, you bend one knee and then the other knee so that you're walking the dog. And then very gently walk your hands to your feet to your hands, and coming up, hopefully we'll all meet in the upward stance, coming up to standing, rolling up vertebra by vertebra. So coming to stepping, you can stay where you are on your mats, stepping your left foot forward, and for Western women you might want to go slightly out to the left, depends on your hips. Just lightly hold your left thigh with your left hand, and with your right hand just make a very light fist, and we'll start with circling the hand forward. Your eyes are keeping on the thumb. So this becomes a shoulder and neck and eye exercise, coming back to the eyes again. And notice where your eyes drop, you lose track of your eyes. So to really follow your eyes, to follow your thumb with your eyes, you've got to, again, your eyes can suddenly jump, you find they've lost. If you haven't got room or you haven't got the space, just bend your elbow to make that movement. And then just very gently reverse so that you circle backwards. You'll find this type of Tibetan, this movement a lot in Tibetan yoga and variations of this. And then come to standstill. Come with the hands on the waist. Soften the front knee a little bit, dropping the weight. Hands to cactus. Feel the opening across the shoulders, and then hands up. You can look straight ahead if your neck is strong enough, but only if it is you can look up. slightly, and then bring your head to the centre, lower your hands, step back, just side to side swaying. And then, of course, we're going to think about coming to the other side. So when you're ready, come to the centre and step your right foot forward. Feel that you can adjust it further out to the right. You can have a bigger gap than I've got. Just feel that you can experiment with what feels good for you. And then your right hand can rest on the right thigh, and your left hand makes a gentle fist. And again, we're going to circle coming forwards first. Some traditions in yoga always insist on circling forward first and then resetting the shoulders properly, coming back, but other traditions don't do that. So it's all very different. And again, you can bend your elbow, you haven't got space, and repeating that it's a shoulder, neck, and eye exercise. So it becomes a mindfulness exercise. Because when you lift your eyes up to your thumbs, you're disconnecting the brain from the stress centre, the mind from the stress centre. You're disconnecting the stress centres of your brain. And then just reverse your circle when you're ready. And then just lower, step. Before you step back, just place your hands on your waist, soften your weight. Then come to your cactus. And then come to your arms up, looking either forward or up. And looking forward now to lower your arms. Step back as you lift and roll your shoulders. And hands on the waist again, hip width apart, as you just begin to swirl in one direction. So this is the opening sequence for belly dancing. If Carol, remember, did you ever come to belly dancing, Sue?
No.
And then circling the other way. It gives a fluidity to the pelvis. The pelvis can, the energy in the abdominal area can often get stuck. And so this just quite nicely just eases that out. And your circle can be a little bit or a lot. And then very gently coming to the centre. Feet hip width apart, dropping the hands, lifting and rolling the shoulders. Raising the hands up, thumbs together, and just sway from side to side, swaying palm. So this is a vata. Vata is the air. So this is very, funny enough, anti-pain, just regulating the vata dosha, which is the air element mostly in the body. It's more complex than that. But then just very gently coming to the centre, lowering the hands and coming to lie on your front, which I don't often do, but I am going to this time. So come to lie on your tummy, and I'm going to suggest coming to lie in Sphinx, which is lying on your elbows. Looking down at the ground. This, in restorative yoga, I think I said before, you'd be here for 3 to 5 minutes. It's a back bend. But it's a soft back bend. Cobra, where you have your hands further back, is much more extreme on the lower back. But it's a very gentle, soft. And just wobble your bottom from side to side. Sacroiliac stabilizer. It's called jelly wobble. And then from here, roll to one side. I'm rolling onto my right side. My right leg is kind of relaxed, extended. And just pick up your left ankle, shin. So this is like your dancer's pose. This is another Vata pose. Just stretching back. The stretch here is where you've got your
that bone in the marrow, you've got white blood cells, so it's meant to boost your immune system. That's the theory behind it. And then just come back and either roll to the other side or turn around however you want to do the other side. Dancer's pose is much more elegant when you're standing up, and you've got the balance thing there. So unless you're perfectly balanced, if you wobble as I do, I don't actually get the benefit of this going into that kind of area there. And then just very, very gently come back and come into your version of child's pose. So it can be child's pose, big toes together, it can be arms in front, it can be behind, or you can have puppy pose if you don't really want to come into child's, where your sort of bottom's up in the air. And then you go into your sort of upper thoracic back area. But whatever works for you. If you find your head's down too much and that's a little bit of an issue for you, then you can just place your hands in fists and rest your forehead on your fists and hands. You can always use a bolster at home. And it keeps the blood running parallel to the heart more. It's slightly more restful. It's still forwards, but it's more restful for the body sometimes to do that. And then we're going to come up into cobbler's pose. So I don't know if Sue's got any thoughts that she wants to focus on today. Must be feet, cobblers. So soles and feet together. It's also called cobblers pose because of the feet. Or Baddha or I must think they call this butterfly in yoga.
I think they do, yes.
They do.
Yes, and you go like that.
That's
don't you?
right. Yeah. So you can butterfly your
Yes,
things,
yeah.
but if you want to massage the inside of your feet as well, have you got any?
Shall we do? Let's do the big toes,
Ooh,
which
right,
corresponds to your head. So if you think of your foot, so the top of your foot, your big toe is your head, and then it goes down. So if you massage the backs of your big toes, that's
You're hearing this, Pat? Massage the backs of your big toes.
and then across the top of your toes, which is your brain reflex area.
Yes, the
We all
brain.
get our brains going a bit, but gently all around your.
So brain is the top of the toes, Pat. Have
Yes.
you heard
And then
that?
across the lower part of the foot is the throat area. So the lower part of your toe,
Okay.
across the front, it's
Oh,
the throat
that's
area.
nice.
Yes, so that's quite nice. So sometimes if you've got a bad throat or whatever, that can feel quite comforting. So that's the reflex point for your throat. So that includes your thyroid, isn't it?
It is thyroid. Yeah, and parathyroid.
It's a thyroid area as well.
Well, contacting the putting pressure on the tip of the toe,
Mm.
sharp pain. Is that normal?
It's your brain overworking. Working your brain now.
It's
Yeah,
just really
it's
a
just-
sharp pain.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. At some points, some parents are just more sensitive with, even if you've been maybe overthinking things or just, but it's,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't
on
press
the
it.
sit-
It
just-
really
just-
hurts.
yeah.
Yeah.
Side on the tip here, the same thing.
Do you?
Yeah.
It's just like a needle,
That's
really
the,
like heavily
Yeah.
pricking it.
Oh right, so that's, I mean, it's too complicated to go through, but that's all the other sort of hormonal points and everything in your.
Back to
in
that
your
again.
nerves.
So
So
back
not
to
that
that.
one again.
Back to that.
Yes. So,
Oh,
so
okay.
that's all the different.
Which one to the side?
For me, it's just
hormonal
right there.
area,
I can't touch it.
hormones.
Yeah, I can't touch
So
it.
you're following this, Pat. So we're looking at all areas of the toe, the big toe here.
It gets very complicated, so I won't go into
Okay.
that, but specific little areas are different.
Here's a sunburn.
If you look up, if you just Google it, the
Yeah.
toes or the things with reflexology points, it's very specific all the points
The
that
areas.
relate to different areas, so it's too complicated for me to try and explain it.
Okay.
If you have a look, find the point and have a look online and see the specific point and see what it relates to, it's often quite interesting.
There's a map, isn't there? A reflexology map.
Yes, the reflexology map of your
Yeah.
foot. It gives a whole.
okay.
Yes, you can just. It's literally a map of your foot, so you can find which points you think of, and
It's
see what it
not the
relates to.
same as the acupuncture.
No,
It's not, okay.
that's different. That's
Okay,
different.
all
So
right.
it's reflexology, and it's the.
I think it tunes into
It's the reflex points on your feet that correspond to that area of your body. So if
Okay.
you've got an area, it's
Right,
quite good to look it up.
okay,
I don't read too much into it, you know, it doesn't mean anything
right.
serious, it just
Uh-huh.
could be a sort of a general thing all might think.
Oh, yes.
When we were doing the solar plexus through the other
Yeah.
tenderness, really tenderness
Yes,
in
yeah,
there.
that's often just a sort of stress or anxiety type thing.
Uh-huh.
Which
Makes
you know, we all have, you know, of varying degrees at different times, don't we? So, yes. But some people's feet are just more sensitive than others in different points anyway, which doesn't necessarily mean anything, but yeah.
I've often thought, would you like to do, because you don't do reflexology, like a reflexology session or something like that, like a self-reflexology session.
Just basic stuff, yeah, because
Yeah,
it's quite complicated and some of the areas are so small, it's very hard to show people where they, I mean,
Where they
my hands are too long now,
Yeah.
I can't do it, but you know, to show everybody where all the just the different
Perhaps
little
we'll do
points
that
are.
then, because it
But
is
yes,
fascinating.
it's just the
People do
general-
your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the general
Self-help.
thing, yes, yeah, without being too specific about
Yes.
tiny areas, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
My
sure.
understanding was, I'm looking at use that the emperors a millennia ago, when their soldiers, their army got injured, that's how they began to understand and map meridians, because the soldiers were injured in their heads, and they found that by touching the feet, it had a direct correlation to the injuries on the head, and they started to make the original. I've got one of the old Chinese meridian sort of things, and how they started to map. They touched that point, and that point, does that hurt?
Yeah,
Does that?
yeah.
And they started to put up the meridian
But the
points.
funny thing is, it wasn't actually until the 1920s that somebody actually, it was an American there, I can't remember her name at the moment, who actually mapped out, literally did a diagram of the foot with every single, there's a point on your feet for every single organ, point in your body, every joint, every part of your body. It wasn't actually mapped out until the 1920s. But they did, Napoleon used to have reflexology.
Did he?
Went
Did
into
he?
battle, yes, yes. He used to have someone come into his tent and rub his feet. Well, that's what he said. That's what he said. So anyway, yes. Yeah.
I was thinking Julie style. Do you remember?
Yes, yes.
You remember Julie? And then, yes, she's been anyway, so just we won't mention Julie, but she would have given the whole service. Anyway, there's a very naughty friend of mine from Felton Fleet days who was exceptionally naughty. She lived in Claygate, she doesn't any longer. And yes, what can I say?
That's
really?
another story, really.
I have written a book about it because it was
Oh,
just.
this is the, yes.
Yeah. So anyway, just open your legs out in a V, comfortable to you, and just slide your hands down your shins. Just feel that you're lengthening your back, and then just relaxing forward. Where you hold your feet is up to you. You can hold on your shins, you can hold your big toes. I think it comes back to anatomy. I've got long arms, Sue hasn't. So she can't manage, but it's nothing to do with flexibility.
why I can't do it.
No, it's nothing to do with flexibility. It's simply, how we're made. It's just how we're made. So that's why we're all different. And then just gently coming forward. And then just sliding your hands up, coming to comfortable. So I'm going to come to cross-legged, but nobody has to sit in a cross-legged position. And I'm going to be very imprecise about this. Just take your right thumb, block your right nostril, and only breathe through your left. So I slightly extend the back of my neck, and I slightly lower my chin to my chest. Just only breathe through your left nostril.
So this is a preparation for a breath called Nadi Shodhana, which is balancing the breath on the left and the right and the left hemispheres, and this is the preparation for it. But I find that the preparation is quite nice in its own right. And we're only going to do a nanosecond. Just release your right thumb and just feel how lovely the breath is to go through both nostrils. And then again, I don't mind, yoga is very precise about it, but just very gently, however, with your left hand or that, whatever, block your left nostril. So now you're only breathing through your right. And you start to notice, or you might start to notice, where the breath goes. So it's not just breathing through your nostril. Does the breath follow the inside path to your nostril, close to the middle bit, or does it go to the outside? Does it go in the centre? One nostril will be different from the other. One nostril is dominant at any one point. Some nostrils favour one side. There's a whole story going on around the nostrils. Somehow, doing one side at a time has quite a profound effect. We don't normally connect to. And again, as I said, this is a very gentle intro. You might do more of this. But drop your hand away and again experience how lovely the breath feels through both nostrils. That sounds weird. And then very gently come to hugging the knees into the chest to lie down. This is a freestyle, either rocking from side to side or hugging in and out. Whatever works for you. You can turn your head from side to side. If you want to rock from side to side, you can hug your knees in and then just let them drift away from you. Slight rotation. You can really rock onto one side if you need to. Just massaging out across the back once more. And then to come to just finish by either feet on the ground, knees up in constructive rest. So constructive rest, your knees will touch or hands comfortable, or come to your full shavasana, whatever works for you. And we're just going to come to this very, again, short but very traditional practice. It's rooted in Buddhism. There's no religious connection at all to it. It's simply as the psychology of referencing parts of the body and letting your mind connect to the parts of the body and just relaxing those parts of the body. It's called rotation of consciousness. You'll find this in mindfulness too. And rotation of consciousness, the word that is used in the yoga kind of circles is nyasa. It's the same thing. So bringing your attention to your feet, tops of the feet, soles of the feet, big toes, second toes, third, fourth, little toes, and space beyond the toes. Moving through the feet, and again to the ankle bones, the Achilles heel, shins, calves, knees, tops of the knees, backs of the knees, thighs, pelvis. Moving up the front of the body, the lower abdomen, through the stomach, up to the chest, the heart. Across the collarbones to the shoulders,
down the upper arms, elbows, backs of the elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, backs of the hands, palms, fingers, thumbs, second finger, third, fourth, and little finger. Space beyond the fingers. Come to the lower back and moving along the spine, coming up to the mid-back, space between the shoulders, the back of the neck, the back of the head, the space between the ears, top of the head, forehead, eyebrows, temples, down the cheeks to the jawbone, chin, throat, moving back to the chin, the lips, lower, upper lip, teeth. And settle your attention on the nose, travel up the nose, and settle finally at the third eye, that space in the middle of the forehead, between the eyebrows, that dent. And just imagine breathing in and out through the third eye. Breathing in through the third eye, and breathing out through the third eye. In through the third eye, and out through the third eye. And as you breathe out, just put into your out-breath anything that's not serving you today. Anything that you want to just put in that basket, that out-breath, just let it float away. And it can be any pain, it can be any thought. You don't need that thought right now. And then very gently come to have a thought for the day, your sankalpa. And again, think that thought a couple of times before releasing it. The intention would have been set for the day ahead. And now just choose a colour, any colour, your colour for today. And mentally wrap yourself, imagine yourself in an auric egg. Just wrapping yourself inside and out in your coloured bubble, conferring protection for the day ahead. Only positive things can come in. And then let that thought go. And now just become aware of where you are, clothes, touching your skin, parts of the body, connecting to the earth. Just make any movement that you feel you'd like to make. Be swaying your knees from side to side, hugging your knees into your chest. To bring you back to the present moment. And there really is no hurry to come back to a seated position. Take time to get up, the body's got to adjust to a new fluid level. So yogic wisdom is to roll onto the one side and stay there for a moment. Just let the body adjust to any fluids, changes. And then taking the time to press down with one hand to come up to a seated position. And today we're just going to, as we started on the eyes, just rub the hands together. Place the hand over the eyes, closed eyes, and open your eyes into the darkness of the hands. And then when you feel ready, just to move your hands gently away. You're connecting back to today, to the current time. Thank you very much, and everyone have a lovely day ahead.